Hello, how's everyone doing tonight? And we're gonna give it just a couple of minutes, seconds, whatever you want to call it, for people to join us. So while I'm talking and working on cutting these stars that we're going to use out tonight, I'm going to go ahead and do that to give everybody a little bit of time to pop in. So we have everyone gets a chance to win the card that we're making tonight. So the key word tonight is star. I will mention it again, but if you want to win, you will have to type that word in the comments. There we go. Okay. All right. So I got one. And we are going to use these stars are from the digital file that we have out there called Elves. Is that what it's called, honey? Christmas Elves? Elves? Is that what it's called, honey? Christmas Elves? Oh, look at that. He turned on the phone to make sure that we could see comments to see if everything was working. Just testing it out so we don't have any issues. Hey, Dale. Hey, you're right here. I can see your face. I wish I could see everybody when they're on the live like that. Anyway, I think I forgot to say hello. I'm Sandy from ledouxdesigns. Super excited to be crafting tonight. I know it's Tuesday night, and usually we have quite a few people watching on Tuesday night. Thursdays are sometimes a little bit more challenging, but I will be live Tuesday in this group, Thursday in this group at 8 p.m., same time as tonight. And then on Friday, I will be on YouTube on Craft Roulette's site, playing along with Craft Roulette. So very, very exciting. I am live, right? Okay, just checking. Anyway, we are also going to use the new sentiment stamp set tonight. And I have these new papers, which I really like. Since we didn't do a specific paper pad this month, I wanted to go ahead and use a Christmas one for this card. So I'm going to use this one from Paper Rose. I really like Paper Rose. Anyway, these are the designs and they're pretty. I've chosen 3 of them that I want to use for the card tonight. I do have the instructions for the card. It's going to be a little bit challenging for this card. It's not quite as easy a card as other ones have been in the past. So we will get to that here in a little bit, but these are the papers that I chose to decorate the card.
I normally receive a notification. I never receive a notification.
Should I, maybe it's not right. Do you want me to, should I cancel it and restart? I think I'm going to do that. Oh, wait. Diana, is everything okay in the feed? Because we were thinking that maybe people weren't getting notified or that there was an issue. So if you could let me know what you think, that would be really great. And I'll just start over and recap what I already said. But if you could comment so we can make sure we can see it, that would be great. Oh, you did. Okay, you did. You got notified. Okay, great. Then we're good. We're golden. Okay. So these are the images from the digital stamp set that we have. It's 2 adorable little elves right here, and they are preparing for Christmas, and we're going to color them tonight. And then these stars and some ornaments are also in the set, and we're going to use the stars. And then we're going to create a card tonight, and I will give you the measurements and the score lines, But if you want to do this one, this is one you'll probably have to watch the video again. So I will replay it on YouTube. But we're going to use 3 solid papers. So I have chosen blue, yellow, and red. And then I've chosen these papers, which are from the new paper pad that I got from the Paper Rose. I love Paper Rose, by the way. You got your card. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad you like it. Now you can see why I always say, oh, it looks so good here. I don't know if you can see it on camera because it looks so good in person and then the camera's not quite as nice. This is Paper Rose. It's a Christmas paper pack. It's called Merry and Bright Basics. I got it off of scrapbook.com because Paper Rose is from Australia. So scrapbook.com carries them and a couple of other places, but not a lot. So if you really like Paper Rose, you'll really have to search for their paper. So I've chosen these 3 papers out of the set for specific reasons, which we'll go over in a little bit. But this one is Presents, and on the other side, so cute, right? Presents on the other side too. And this one is like a little city scene, which I kind of want to use for the front of the card, I think. I might change my mind, but for right now, that's what I'm thinking. And, oh, sorry, I got something under my nail and it was really hurting. And then on the back is these trees. And then this one I want to use for accent pieces because I kind of like the way they look in strips. So I think I'm going to use the strips, but just in case we have this accent we can use as well. So I'm going to use 3. You don't have to use this many when you make it, but when you see how it comes together, you may want to consider that. So I have 3 solid papers and 3 pattern papers. And I will give you the measurements and the cuts, but this one, like I said, is a little bit more detailed. So you'll want to watch really close and make your own notes, but I will give you the measurements and score lines and explain the process as we go along. We're also going to use this sentiment set. This is the new sentiment set in the shop. It is awesome, and we're going to use it tonight. I've wanted this set for so long, so I'm very happy about it. So we're going to use that. So what I want to do tonight is we are also going to do multi-marker coloring. And what I mean by that is we're going to start with the skin tone blends from Copic, and then we are going to switch to Olo coloring tonight. So we will do a bit of swatching to make sure we have the right colors as we go along. So you'll be able to see the swatching process as well. Not that you guys haven't already seen it, but just to reiterate how that works, we will be doing that. I'm also using hammer mill paper tonight, in case anybody's curious to color on. That's what we're using. Hey Mama, hey Cheryl, hey everybody, yay, there y'all are. Okay, so I'm going to start off by coloring the skin tone colors with Copics. And the only reason is because the current markers from Olo, I just can't seem to get the skin tones. Like, I don't have a favorite one yet. I have skin tones, but I don't have a favorite one yet. So in order to rush this along so we can work on the card, I'm going to use Copics for this, and we'll use Olo for everything else. So with that said, I have chosen E000 for the base coat, and then we're going to go to RV95, and then E11, E21, and E00. And in there, we're going to do cheeks, but we're going to do the girls in R21 and the boys in R11 because we don't want it to look like he has blush. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a bit. We're going to do them at the same time. So we're going to start off with our base coat in E000. So how is everyone doing tonight? I'm doing good. Oh, you're doing new ones. Yay! Yes, I am. These are the digital images, so they're available to everybody in all the countries and such. So if you like them, you can grab them. I like the ornaments in this one too, and I almost did those, but then I decided everybody was talking about how cute the little elves were, and I really like them, so I decided to do the little elves tonight. Plus, they worked really well with the paper pad that I have, so I think they'll be great. So yeah, we're just putting a base coat in there to get the paper wet. And then they're both going to have little leggings on. So I'm not doing either one of their legs in skin tone. But I am going to do both of their faces kind of in tandem at the same time. We're just going to flip back and forth so that we can get that part done. I did cut them out before it started. They really weren't difficult to cut out. I know sometimes images can be difficult to cut out, and so people don't want to do it. But these really weren't too bad. I would say the only challenging part on either, there's only one challenging part out of both of them, and that's this little hook right here that's on the ornament. You just have to be careful you don't cut it off, but you could cut it off and then draw a line and you'd get the same results. So, you know, don't stress. Okay, so here we go. And in the digital image, you can get them facing each other, or you can flip them. So you can have them both facing the same way or both facing that way, or you can do them this way or you can do them this way and flip them so they're facing each other. I give you all the versions so you don't have to worry about flipping them. They say left version, right version kind of thing in the file. So you get all of them. So you don't have to worry about that. But you get a lot of variety with that, with the different versions. So you can put them wherever you want. But they're going to face each other in the card. So that is why I chose to print them in these directions. I wanted the boy on the right and the girl on the left. So I chose to print them out in that format. And then, yeah, so I feel like I just talked really fast and a whole lot. So does anyone have any questions? I have another thing to bring up, but I'll wait and see if anyone has any questions or anyone has anything they want to talk about or any of that. I'll give you guys a chance to talk while I'm catching up here on these little elves' hands. Hands are the most challenging part for me. Hands and feet are the most challenging when I'm drawing, just in case anybody ever wondered. There we go. Now we're going to put some on her. Under her hairline always. Because your hair always casts a shadow over your face. So I tend to do that for sure. Look, she has a cute little earring in her ear. I love the little details. I tend to add them myself, but it was nice to give it a chance to add it for those who won't do that. Okay, there we go. Base coat and shadow on both of them. And we are, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to switch to Olo markers here in a few minutes. We're just doing the skin tones in Copics. Because if you didn't know, they're both alcohol markers and you can use them together or on their own. So let's say you started collecting one and then you had the opportunity to get another one cheaper. They all work together. So it doesn't have to be the same alcohol marker. It just depends on how you feel. I have like full set syndrome, so I now have 3 full sets of alcohol markers. Oh my. I am missing the new Olo markers, but they're not technically on the market yet. I mean, they're being sold, but they're not being delivered yet. Mine, I don't think will be here until January. I think there were 93 colors or something like that that came out with the new release. And according to what I heard, which don't quote me on it because I didn't do a fact check with the company, but I was told that they did so many this time because they don't want to release like every year for a while. They just want to do this big release, and then they think that you should have what you need for coloring in the craft industry. But I won't know how I feel about that until I can play with them. Just popping in to say hello. I can't stay on. I'm super excited for Friday. I know, me too, Beth, for sure. So the key word tonight, I said it at the very beginning of the video, but I'm pretty sure that nobody was online yet. So the key word is star. If you want to win the image that we're coloring tonight, then you can comment the word star, and you can be entered in the drawing. Okay, so I realized I missed this ear right here. So I'm going to take a brief second and go back with RV95 and just add a little bit to this ear over here. Don't be surprised if you miss spots when you're coloring. We all do it. It happens all the time. It doesn't happen to me quite as often when I'm just coloring on my own at the house, but when I'm doing a live, it happens a lot. So because I'm multitasking, I'm trying to read your comments and answer your comments. I'm trying to color and concentrate and figure, So it's all kind of a work in progress. Okay, E21 is next. I'm going to work on him first. We're going to add the blush color on the next, before the next color, to kind of get those cheeks a little rosy. I mean, they are at the North Pole. They are cold. So they should have red cheeks, little pink cheeks, They're happy and they're cold. And I mean, they probably aren't cold like me. Like, I'm always cold. It's been so cold in Texas, I can't even believe it. The other day, I went to hang out with my mom, and it was like 35 degrees, 39 degrees. I was like, I mean, I live in Texas for a reason, because I don't like to be cold. And that's never fun when you have to be that cold when you're not used to it. I'm just not a cold gal. I did fancy the idea of moving to Colorado at one point, but probably a good thing I didn't, because I just am not good with the cold. Okay, sorry. I bet that looked like I froze for a minute. I didn't, but I had this weird, ringing in my ear when I turn my head in a certain direction. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I hope it stops, because it's not fun. Okay, so R11 is what we want to use on the little boy. And we're going to put it on his cheeks and a little bit in his ears. So not a whole bunch, a little bit kind of right in there on his ear and then right here. Okay? And then for her, we're going to put this R11 inside her ear, both sides actually. And then we're going to put R21 on her cheeks because I really want her cheeks to be a little bit more rosy than his. So just going to color in a bit of that in there. I'm going to put a little bit more over here. There we go. And then we're going to come in with E00 and kind of go over that, sort of blend it out a little bit so it's not too dark of cheeks. I'm not going to do much on the ears because that was such a light color that it didn't really cause any change in the ear, just a teeny bit of pink, which is what we wanted for the ears and the boys. And then I'm going to come over here and soften this cheek a little bit. You want to be careful when you soften them like that because sometimes you can do it too much and then it defeats the purpose for using the darker color. But there we go. Super cute. Like, that's a really good skin tone. I like it a lot. So I'm going to finish off the boy as well. When I go over his cheeks, they get a little pinkish, but not like the girls, which is exactly what I was going for. Just a little bit of pink, but not a lot. And I'm just finishing off his hands and his neck. There we go. So really nice, but they definitely have different coloring and different qualities. So I'm just going to soften these edges a little bit because it looks like she forgot to like blend her blush. Okay, so now we have their skin tones done. And when I'm coloring an image and I already know what color the background papers and stuff are going to be, I like to sit them out so that I can see them when I'm picking the next colors. So we're going to set them aside real quick, and I'm going to pull out the colors that we are going to use for our little elves. So we need hair color, which is not a problem. I can pull whatever for hair color. I don't have any issues coming up with a hair color. So let's randomly pick something. We'll give them a blonde hair for sure. Let's see. We'll test this one. I'm not quite as quick on the Olo coloring, getting right which ones will blend together. I may have to switch them out a little more than I do when I have Copics, but I'm getting there. So, all right. So we definitely want we should have a brown hair as well. I'm pretty keen on my brown colors. We'll try these three. So this is what I was thinking about for the blonde hair. This one is YO 2.5. This one is YO 2.3, which kind of gives me a kind of a yellowish color. And then I have this O 7.1 because I want to kind of move it away from the yellow into a brighter color. But I think this is a little bit too light. I do want to stay with this tone. So we'll try 7.3 and see if it's a little bit better. See, that's a little bit too brown. It's hard to tell with the caps of these markers. Let's try 4.1 and see if it's any better. Oh, there, that's what I need. right there, 4.1. Okay, so we have our blonde-ish hair. And then our brown, I have OR 4.8. That's going to be my shadow brown. And then I have OR 4.7. Was this OR as well? OR 4.8, OR 4.7. They're kind of side by side. And then OR 4.4, which is really light. So I think we're going to switch that one. Let's try 3.4. That one even looks a little bit pink. I don't want to make that person's hair pink. 3.4, still not very happy with that one. So let's try 3.7. OR 3.7. Oh yeah, that's where I want to be. Okay, so I'm going to go with these three. And we may come back and color some presents with these colors as well, because I think these colors go nicely with the background. How cute are those little elves? They're going to be so much fun. Wait till we get some good coloring in on them. So we're going to need a... Do we want to do them in red and green, or do you want to do them in blue and green, or blue and yellow, or teal and blue? I mean, what colors do we want to make these little guys? No pink, because we don't have any pink in our papers. Let's try this red combination and see how this works. R1.7, R0.6, and 0.5. I think this is going to give us a little less red intense. It's almost like a mahogany instead of a... I was going to see what color it said. Carmine. More of like a mahogany look to me than a cranberry. This one goes a little bit more back to red, which is okay. They blend nicely together. And then this one is just a little bit lighter, but still not quite the blood red that we normally get, but still matches the background. So I think that's a good red combination. So we'll hold that. We need a green. So let's try, this is a little bit more of a subtle green. There is a little bit of yellowish to it, but let's try this combination first. This is YG 8.7. I really like that green. Those look like great colors. Good. Maybe they'll help. Then there's this YG 85, which I also like, but then the next one is YG 83, but that just keeps getting lighter and lighter and lighter. There's no yellow green to it. So I'm going to switch that one out for, let's try YG 2.5 and see. Oh, that might be just subtle enough that I think it might be perfect, actually. I think that'll go nicely together, and it matches well with the greens in there. So I think we're good. I like that too. Okay, so we have red and green. It looks like we need a bit of blue, almost like a grayish blue. So this one comes to mind, but this one's a little bit more purple. So I'm not going to go with that. Oh, you know what we could try? These are my favorite. These are my favorite ones. RG. It's like a gray, but it has a red tone to it. It doesn't work with that gray though, but it sure is pretty. We're not going to be able to use those tonight. We need gray, and that looks like a cool gray to me. So we're going to need CG 9. Need the dark one. And then we'll go with 7 and 5. I mean, honestly, with Olos, that's all you got. 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. You don't have any of the in-between colors. You only have, so if you want cool gray, that's what you're going to get. Unless you tip to tip. That's what you get. That's all there is. That's all she wrote. I'm trying to decide, you know, I think we could get away with some of this BG color too. This is BG 7.6. We could even do their eyes in that maybe. 7.3. There's a 7.2, but honestly, we're getting so light now. I don't think that's going to do a whole lot. But let's go ahead and keep those out anyway. And let's just stick with that for now. Sound good? All right. Let's roll. So we did Copic skin tones, and now we're going to do our elves in these other colors. So I picked 3 colors for hair on one of them and 3 colors for hair on the other. So one is going to be blonde and one is going to be brunette. Now, I tend to make the girl blonde, but we're not going to do. We're going to do the opposite of that tonight. We're going to make the boy blonde-ish or dirty blonde and the girl brunette. So when you get these Olo markers, they sell them like this. This is what you get. I cannot color with this. It's too tiny for me. So you get like this little centerpiece. Looks like this. It's like an interlock. So you can do them with brush nibs on each end or whatever. But I do mine with a refill on the back. It extends my brush. And if I run out of ink in this one, I will have a refill because there's no way to tell when it's running out. It just runs out, and I don't like to be stuck with no ink, so this is a refill on the back, just for reference. I don't have to take anything off the back like I do with Copics because there's no other side. It's just sealed off. They're a lot juicier. It takes a little bit of practice to get finer lines. So if you've never used Copics, it's not going to be it's not going to be challenging for you at all. But if you've used a different brand, you can have a little bit of a challenge adjusting to the different sizes of the nibs and how they perform. And so I just put the darkest color kind of around the bottom and around the top because he is wearing a little hat. And then I'm going to come in just like I would with Copics. I'm going to do YO 2.3 in between where I put the Olos. So you know how we always say brush strokes in between? That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it with this color and with a different marker, but same process. I'm going to flip him upside down, and I'm going to do my in-between areas. Need to do down here as well. And then that gives me a little bit of each color in there. And then I'm going to go in with this 04.1. And I'm just going to brush back and forth to kind of soften everything and cover up any of that white space. But I'm going to leave my little brush strokes because that'll make it look like more like hair. So that gives me a little bit of a blonde hair look. If you want it to be darker, you can change your colors. But for now, I kind of like it just like that. So I'm going to leave that. I might add another color, like a 4th color if I thought it needed it. Or you could go back with your darkest one for a second run and just deepen up a few of those brush strokes if you wanted a little bit darker, it would look like this. And I would probably do the hairline that's right up underneath that hat. It'll give you a little bit more of a wow factor. See how it kind of just gave it a little bit more of a depth look. But those calls are just whatever you want to do. They do have a colorless blender as well. It's called Zero. And I noticed that I have a little bit of ink, Copic ink in his eye, so I'm just going to push that out. And yes, I used Copics, and now I'm using the colorless blender from Olo, and I told you they work together, they blend together. They're very friendly with each other, so you do not have to worry about whether your colorless blender is Olo or Copic, or it doesn't matter. It's going to work just as good. Now, OR, I think it's OR is instead of the YR that we have in Copic. So this is like an orange red versus a yellow red, and that's different as well. So you kind of have to get used to that. But this is the 4.8. I'm going to go along underneath her hat, kind of get that little bit of shadow built in there first. But you'll notice I'm going to say the same type of things when I'm coloring with these markers versus the other, and I'll probably use the same verbiage with the Ohuhu as well, because they're all alcohol markers. So just tiny brush strokes from the top. I do one right on this piece right here. Might add a little one right there. And then we'll just use this for the underside of her hair. So this part's really shadowed because she has an earring and a hat and everything is going on there. And then usually anything close to their face, underneath the underside of your hair always looks darker because there's so much shadow there, that I use a little bit more of the darker color at the bottom here. And my marker is really juicy. It better not blob on me. I haven't had them do that lately, so I'm hoping I'm past the whole blobbing stage, but you can tell this marker's getting pretty juicy. And when I touch the paper, a lot of ink goes out, so. Okay, so we're done with that one. Now I'm going to move to 4.7. It's OR, and it's a next in line from 4.8 to 4.7, so it should be very close in color. But when you color them next to each other, this one seems like it has a little bit more red in it than the 4.8. So I'm just going to put those brush strokes in between wherever I put the 4.8. But again, I'm not going to fill it all in. I want to keep this kind of brunette hair a little bit on the lighter side, not the darker side. Just feeling like making her a little bit different today. There we go. I did around the outside, and the last color will be the highlight. We only have 3, so we do a little bit more with each marker since we only have 3 colors. In between where I put the last color and around the outside. There we go. So that kind of gets her brown in there. And then this one that we chose was even lighter. So this is OR 3.7. And I'm just going to fill in those spaces in between. Again, I'm going to hold the side of my marker. A little bit more ink comes out. But I'm not going to swish back and forth. I do not want to blend them. I still want to have those brush strokes there that make it appear like hair. And notice each time I color in too, I'm staying in the direction of the hair. That helps keep it look more real and natural. Now again, more ink comes out when I use the Olos than when I use the Copics. So if you get to this point and you feel like you need a little bit more depth, you can always, just like we said before, go back to the darkest color and add just a little bit more back in there. So I'm going to do it just like right along this hat part, because I like a little bit more of a wow. You don't have to do this, but for me, I think it makes a big difference. I'm going to add just a few more of these little brush strokes, and I'm going to make them very skinny, barely touching the paper. I don't want them to stand out. I don't want them to be really large. I just want a teeny bit of ink on the paper. Just kind of deepen up a few of those spots. And then we'll do a little bit under here because this is the shadow area, so it should have more depth under here. And I'm not going to blend out with this at all. I'm just going to stop right there with that little bit. Nice nails. Oh, thank you. I just had them done tonight. Aren't they pretty? They're very Christmassy is what she said. You need to have Christmas, is what my lady told me. You need Christmas nails. And I was like, okay, do me Christmas nails. And that's what we got. And then she said, you can go back to purple and we can put purple on the edge too. And I was like, okay. But I use purple and pink 90% of the year. So, you know. I also need to pull out the C1 and C3 because we're going to need some white areas, and we're going to need to use those and the colorless blender to get our white look. It's kind of exactly the same as the, so for Copics, I do C310, and in Olos, I use CG310. So that one stays pretty consistent. All right, so let's pick what we're going to do white first, because you know how I am. I don't like to have anything else bleed in there. So I'm going to choose all the things that I want to be white. And I'm going to start with the boy. So I want this part of his hat and the ball to be white. So I'm going to add a little bit of this gray in there. And I'm going to add a little bit up here on the side too. I'm not going to go all the way up. I'm just going to do just this little corner right here. And then under here, I'm going to go under where that ball starts. And the way I like to do it with this one is kind of just one little swipe down the middle of the hat. And then I want his little, whatever you want to call those, leggings or whatever, to have some. So I'm going to put a little teeny bit of this C3 right up there where his shirt top matches his little leggings. And then I'm going to put just a teeny bit, I'm going to skip one, then a little bit there, and a little bit there. We're going to do the same thing on this one. A little bit here, a little bit here, and there's not a third layer down there. This foot is closer, it's up, the boot is up, the top of the boot is up higher, so you don't see quite as much of his leggings there. Okay, I think that I'm going to, and I don't normally do this, but I think that I'm going to make this part, and this part also white. I usually make it a color, but since we're making this white, I think I'm going to make them a little bit more in white tonight. So I'm going to do this part right here. And then I'm going to do from the bottom, just that little corner and up right. So like this. And then here, I'm going to do it like around his wrist. And then I'm going to go up each one of the little 4 parts of that. I'm going to do the same thing with these down here. I'm going to put them along the leggings right there. And then I'm just going to brush out one time in each one of the pointed areas on there. And there we go. So I'm going to keep going with him, and then we'll go back and do the girl, because I think I might want to do her a little different. I haven't decided 100% yet, but we're going to take the CG1 and we're going to extend up a little bit higher from where we put that first one. I do go over because I do want this marker to kind of lighten that CG3 a little bit. You can't see it a whole lot on camera, but I promise it's there. And once I put in like red or green around it, it's really gonna stand out. And then I'm gonna take CG1 and I'm gonna do in between those brush strokes I put at the top. I'm gonna touch just at the bottom of those three just to get a little bit of darkness in there. Now this is all in shadow, so I just finished it off. This one's in between again. Not going to do any from the bottom. And this will be in between as well. So not a whole lot. On these parts, these tiny parts right here, I'm just going to finish them off. But here, I'm going to just extend out a little bit, leaving that center area white. We'll use the colorless blender in a minute to blend that out. And then in between here as well. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Now, I'm going to use the colorless blender to finish off these white areas. So for this one, it's going to be one clean sweep. And then for this one, I'm going to go up from the bottom into that gray. Just one sweep. I'm not going to go back and forth or anything. Up from the bottom. I am going to touch this one. And then from the outside in. This will just help blend it together. I am going to touch these even though they're already finished. Then from the bottom up for these parts. And it should blend them all together and we should be good to go on all the white sections. Now you can't see them very well on the camera, but when we get the other color in there, it'll stand out more. So now let's work on her. Maybe we'll leave our backgrounds are all colored, so maybe we'll leave a little bit more on her as well. Now, I didn't do the presents or anything because I don't really know what colors I want to use for them yet. But I think I'm going to do the same thing for her hat. This part right here is going to be white, and so is the ball. But I do them a little bit different because they're shaped a little bit different. Hers is a little more fancy than his. So I'm going to put a little bit there. And I'm going to go over here. I'm just going to brush in with this. Now I'm going to come down from these little sections right here. Kind of build that in. I like this look. It's a little bit like a braid, like a hair braid. See how it kind of comes together like a braid? I feel like it builds a texture to the hat. So that's why I did that. And then for this one, I like to follow the artist lines in a circle. Kind of leaving a center part of the ball. Like all mixed together. And then this area, I'm going to make the collar. And I'm just going to put it what's close to her head and right here where the Christmas bulb is blocking it. Then her wrist, and that's the only part on her wrist I'm going to do. Her belt I'll probably make black, so I'm going to come down from here, and I am going to put that line in there, not along the bottom, but just where these two pieces meet. Center here, and then there'll be a little bit right here because one is over the other, so I'm going to add that. It's almost like a pleat idea. And I'm going to make her boots black, so I'm not going to do anything else with those. Now we're going to switch in with our CG1. We're going to extend. I'm going to go over what I already put in there and just extend out a little bit more. So I'm going to do that all the way around, just like we did with the other one. And then I'm going to do it this way. Same thing. I'm just going to try not to pick up any of that brown hair. And then for this one, I'm just going to do the outside, leaving the inside more white. For this one, I'm going to extend a little bit, still leaving a white area. Same thing here. Extend this. I am going to go around the outside now, so all the way. And then on this one, I'm going to go a little bit here, around the outside, a little bit here. I'm going to leave that all white. And then that is what we have so far. Now, colorless blender time, just like we did with him. Only with her, because we want a little bit of texture in here, I'm going to do like the brush strokes, but I'm also going to do this. I want them to kind of stay, I want to fill in any white, but I want them to kind of stay in that pattern that I built. And then the ball, I'm just going to touch in a circle. This one will be one sweep, one sweep, one sweep here, one sweep here, and one here. And then that's it. So those are all our gray areas. Now you'll be able to really see some color come through. So I think I'm going to do him in blue and her in red. And then we'll accent with green. I think that, well, I didn't pull. Yeah, I did. I pulled this. This should be our accent color, actually. So we'll put him in red and her in green. I changed my mind at the last minute. But let's just do their eyes first. This is the color I chose for the eyes. BG 7.6. So I'm going to put the darkest at the top of their eyes. For this one, I'm going to do the same thing. You could do top or bottom, whichever way you want to do it. It's up to you. And then BG 73. And you know how with Copics, we always do that, like, that little C shape? You can't really do that as much with the Olos because they're so juicy. The ink would just go all over the face. So you have to be a little bit more cautious when you use them. Hey, Meg, nice to see you. If anybody wants to win the card tonight, they have to comment the word star. Just the word star puts you in the drawing. Along the bottom, this kind of starts to finish that off. But as you can tell, we didn't really get that big difference in eyes like we normally do. So because I can't do that C shape as much as I want, I go back in for a second layer with the darkest color. So the BG 7.6, I want to deepen the BG area again. So making them just a little bit darker. And then I'm going to leave out the middle color. And I'm going to come in with the lightest color and just soften that little edge right there. Just that little edge. Just like that. We'll still be doing the white gel pen on the eyes and the black to fill them out. But look, that makes the eyes stand out a lot. It really shows up nicely. I feel like I needed just a tad bit more of his right along the base. I feel like it's just a little bit too light. There we go. All right, so now we have eyes. Okay, we said red on him, green on her. So our red is going to be our 1.7 is our first red. So just like when I do the Copics, I'm just going to start putting in those brush strokes. We definitely want some solid line like right around the edge of that hat. And then wherever the artist's lines are, we'll put some brush strokes there. This isn't the darkest, deepest red that we normally use because remember we're trying to match the pattern paper. But it does the trick for this. So there we go. We have a little bit of the dark red. Now remember his collar and all of his other stuff is red. So I'm going to do his white. So I'm going to do his shirt in this red. So underneath this collar part, and then right here where his arm is all folded up, and then here, top part of each one, and then along the bottom. I'm just going to build some in there. I'm not going to go around the back side yet. And then in here, we definitely want some depth underneath all of that because his arm is over his clothes, but you don't want to do like just a solid line. So some areas will have much longer line and some will be really short. That'll just help us build a little bit of a different look. So I'm just randomly picking where that extension is going to go. It can go wherever you want. And then I'm going to put this nice, really thin line along one side. Just along one side. Already that makes it look a little bit textured without even having to do anything else. I think I might put green on his leggings just so he has some green as well. So I'm going to stop with that. I can always change my mind later. R06 is next, and remember this was pretty bright. It's the second color and I'm only using 3, so I'm going to extend out, and then I need to go around the outside as well because I'm only going to have a highlighted color left. So there we go. That's a really bright green. It's so pretty, huh? And then right up here, all of this in here is going to need to have that red. And up under here, and then I'm going to go around that back side. Now I'm going to go down from where I put these shadow lines already and up here. And then we'll leave that small area right there for the last color. That'll give us a bit of highlight there. Going to extend down from here. I won't be going all the way down. And then I'm just going to go up a little bit from here. I still want to leave a little bit of a textured look there, so we're just going to do that. The last one is going to be R0.5, And I'm going to do that back and forth like I normally do with Copics to get that to blend together nicely. And there you go. That's it. It blends nicely. I go back and forth, just really gently. You don't want to spend too much time because the ink will go outside the lines. So I'm going to make a second pass and then I'm going to stop. Now this one's a little harder to go back and forth because it's such a small area. So we have to do this one a little bit more gently. But it's still the same process. It's just take your time so you don't get red somewhere you don't want it to be. There we go. And now we have red on that part. Okay, I'm going to grab my CG9, which is like the black color, and I'm going to put it almost all the way across and a little bit in the front. I'm going to leave a teeny spot for a highlight. Same thing here. I mean, these boots are going to be black, so it didn't really matter if I went outside the lines or anything. I'm going to skip to CG5 and I'm going to fill this kind of in right there. Remember, you don't want to spend too much time there because the ink will go outside the lines. I'm going to go back to my CG9 and I'm going to put just up underneath these parts right here where that overhang is. A little bit right here, and then I'm going to go along that area right there. Same thing on this one, up here, along the side of this one, and then all the way along the bottom. And there we go. Now we're going to go to CG7. We're going to do a little blending on that. You guys, I hope you're not getting tired because we still got to make this card. We're going to whip through that girl. It won't take as long to do her. But if you are tired, you can always watch the replay on YouTube tomorrow. CG5. But make sure you comment before you go or you won't be in the drawing. So just blending that out, and then I just kind of go over it a little bit more because there is no in-between color, and I want that to blend nicely. So touching those lines around the edges like we normally do will make that come together. And you see how nicely skipping that one color left that highlight at the tips of his shoes? I really like that. Now, I can't decide if I want his pants to have green on them or not. So we're going to switch to the girl and we'll come back to him when I decide. That happens sometimes. And we're going to do hers in green. So we're going to start her with YG 8.7. All along the tip where her hat is. Her shape is a little bit different, so we have to treat it just a little bit different up here. Then I'm going to follow the artist drawn lines. I want to go against that all the way around that ball as well. And then from here, I want to go up her hat a little bit, just like that. So that kind of gets her hat started. And then her little outfit here. All up along that collar, I'm going to add a little bit of deep green there. These little areas right here. And then along the cuff line. And a little bit up her arm. This one, just on the outside of her arm area. This one, following the artist drawn lines up underneath the belt. And then along the back side, under the ornament, And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to build in just a little bit each place that it dips. So it's not the whole line, it's just the dip areas. She got leggings. I didn't do anything with hers either. We're going to leave her leggings alone too, because I don't know what color to do them. I don't know, you guys. I just don't know. We're going to use YG 8.5 next. So extending from where we put that last color. This is going to look like almost like a sage or a darker green, but wait until we add that last color. It's going to change it all. So don't worry too much about this not being a Christmas green color, because it'll be okay. I promise. Around the edges, extending from where we put that initial color. A little bit out from her wrist. Finishing the outside of that all the way along the bottom. And from the belt down will get us that green color in there. And that is a pretty green color, but it's going to be even better when we get this other one on there. This is YG 2.5. So I am going to go over that color we already put there so that I can get this whole tone of color on there. And then of course I'm going to definitely hit it where there's no color in there. But whenever you change, like whenever you're blending a color and you change the tone altogether, you have to go over the other. Otherwise you get something that looks like this, and you get like some really light color and some really off green color, and it just doesn't look right. So you just kind of do a sweep over all of the color and it blends it a lot nicer. Makes everything cohesive. I do have lighter up here and darker down here, and I am okay with that. That was the intent. I'm going to turn her upside down and kind of blend that little mix area right there because I want it to blend a little bit better. You're very pretty green. You like the green? I like it too. Yeah, this is not normally what you see because I'm usually not using Olos, but I just wanted to show you guys since I'm so excited. We're getting ready to do that announcement for the retreat, and I am going to be teaching Copics, Olo, and Ohuhu markers during those classes. So yeah, it sounds like a challenge. It really does, I know, but it'll be fine. I already have a plan. Okay, so just making her belts in the black and her boots in black. Since his boots are in black, I want to do her boots in black as well. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with his boots. And then I'm going to go up here, kind of start building out that boot area. I think in the end I may make his leggings red and hers green just to match everything else, but I just wasn't sure, so I didn't do it right away, which is fine. You just have to make that decision on what you want. I am going to have to come back with that marker after I do this part right here. So this is the CG5, just to leave that like highlighted area on the shoes. And then I'm going to go back in with that CG9 and just get that dark line over that area. There we go. CG7. CG7. We're going to blend that. You guys might not want to miss me making this card that we're going to make, because I've only made it one time before and I'm not really sure it's going to work out. So if you want a good giggle, you might want to stay. I promise if it doesn't work out, I'll fix it before I mail it to you. I mail you the broke one and the fixed one. CG5, we're just going to go over the whole thing to kind of blend that all together. Yep. So see, I have made my decision. I am going to keep her all in green and him all in red. I think it'll be perfect. This is the CG7. Don't worry, I'm going to do the belt buckle and some of the other stuff with the silver gel pen, so I don't really need to technically color it in right now. But I think those are the only two parts that I really want to make in the black for now on this one. So I'm going to grab the green, and I think I may just do her leggings. They're so small. I may just do them all in this dark green. I think it makes it look good. It's still a similar color, but it's darker. I just think it's cute that way. So we're going to leave those like that. And for him, since his are striped, we're going to use the darkest R 1.7, and we're going to do just the edges. And then just the edges of this one and this one. And then we'll come in with the second color, which is 0.6. We'll extend a little bit from the 1.7, leaving a small blending area left. Now remember, you can't oversaturate with the Olos because they're juicy. R05. So if you blend like I just did and you still have that line and you want to work on it, just come back to it and do it again when it dries a little bit. You'll get that effect you're looking for. You do not have to keep going back and forth and back and forth. I don't know. I kind of like them just like that. I'm pretty happy with that, so I don't need to go over them again. And I'm glad I decided on red and green for them and not mixing the red and green because I might not have liked that. But there are some good colors in this background paper, so I'm not going to make the ornaments and such the same colors as their red and green. I'm going to use the yellowish color I used for his blonde hair for the ornament with red, so that, you know, changing it up a little bit so everything's not the same. So I'm going to use the YO 2.5 for, I'm just going to choose, it doesn't really matter which ones you pick, I'm just going to choose every other stripe and put it on the edges. Then I'm going to come in with the 2.3. And I think I want these to be that dark. So I'm just going to, 2.3 is going to be it for the top and the bottom. And I'm just barely going to touch the center with the last color, which will be 04.1. So there we go. So that gets us a really shiny little ornament. We're going to add red to it. And while we're at it, I think her packages are going to be red and her bows are going to be yellow. So maybe I'll do the yellows first. Here's the YO 2.5. So I'm going to do the underside and then these little lines and then a teeny bit right over there in the corner. This marker's juicy too. Right there. And then inside here is going to be all dark. It'll be a little bit coming down. And then if you want, you could do a little bit up from here. A little bit here, but very little. And then this stripe right here will also be this dark color. So I'm just going to put them on the bottom and then underneath where the lid comes together. All right, YO 2.3. So we'll finish off our little bows. We have one more color. We'll leave a little area for highlight on that one. Right. You can make your highlight in the center here or in the center there, whatever you want. It's up to you. Whatever floats your boat. At the moment, that's how I roll, whatever I'm feeling at the moment. All right, last one is O 4.1. From the bottom, and then this little bow right there. Okay, that almost looks golden, but I know it's yellow. I think for his, I'm going to use the blue-green and the green together. And for hers are going to be the red and gold, so that we get all the colors on all the little peeps. While I'm thinking about it, and so I don't forget, I'm going to use the C5 real quick to do the top part of the bulb, which is this part right here. I just know that's the only part I need to be, so I don't want to forget to do that. Okay, 1.7 is our red color, so this little spot that's right there in our hand, the edge of this one, that little part by her hand, and then up from her hand, and then this stripe right here, and then from her hand this stripe. So make sure you don't go on her hand because that would be a bummer. And then down here, I'm going to start off by putting this underneath that where the lid goes onto that box, and then just right underneath this bow and along the bottom of the box. Along the bottom of the box, right here where the lid goes on it. And then I'm just going to touch in some of those little folds. All of that should be in red. This part that's under the bow. Oops, I just went outside the lines. Darn it. These are so cute. Thank you. You missed that. You missed that about the retreat. Oh, do you not know about it, Meg? Yeah, the announcement is coming this week. Right now, we're currently working on the paperwork and getting the sign-up stuff ready so we can announce and you guys can sign up. It's in Vegas in April 16th to the 19th. I am going to teach all 3 marker blends. You will choose which markers you will be using when you sign up, so that all of your stuff that you're going to get, all of your instructions, all your paperwork, all your everything will be angled towards the markers that you have. R05 is going to be the last color where we're going to get our little blend on going on here. There will be projects and coloring, and you will learn everything, and it will be amazing. So make sure you're keeping your eyes peeled. I will be posting it in the group very, very soon. I'm working with, it's going to be in Vegas. I'm working with a girl who lives in Vegas. She's the one helping me book the hotel and get everything up there handled so that we can work together. She'll be at the retreat. She'll be helping. She doesn't own she owns an Etsy shop, but she doesn't like have a store like I do. So it's, but she is working with me. So I will be introducing her when we get you know, when we get ready to, you know, put everything out. But she was traveling and out of town and is just getting back. So tomorrow we have our final meeting to finish up all the information. And then I will be able to get it out to you guys. And I'm so excited. I can't wait. Okay, this is the Deco-Gel Star Spark silver color. So it's going to look silver. You see that? I want to make her belt silver. This is not a clear. This is definitely a silver marker. I mean, pen. Don't touch it. It takes a little bit to dry. So you got to be careful once you use it not to mess up the color. So I'm going to set that aside for a second. I just wanted to give it time to dry. Maybe I'll do these. I wasn't going to do that, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think that'll make it look really cute. All right. So I'm going to let that dry while I work on the boy. He just has one present. He's easy. And I am going to do blue and green. So the present will be green and the bow and stuff will be blue. That blue-green color like his eyes. BG 7.6. More details are coming, Meg, so just hang tight. More detail. You'll get more details real soon. Real soon. So the bow is going to be in this BG color. And I hope some of you will be there because you will learn so much. I've been teaching for a long time. I've been Copic certified since way back, like, I don't know, 15 years. And I've been practicing the Olo for a while, and I'll be working on Ohuhu as well. It didn't take me nearly as long with the other ones because they all work sort of the same. There's just a slight variance with them. So, okay, so this part in the center, I think I'm just going to pretend, even though it has lines, I think I'm just going to pretend it's all one color. It's going to be all one color. But, yeah, I'm really excited. BG 7.3. So, around the outside here. This is the same color that we used for his eyes. So, it'll kind of bring out his eyes, and then it'll also match the background. There we go. Some of these colors, because there's not as many of the Olos as there are of the Copics, it takes a little bit more patience to blend them together because there just aren't as many. It's not a bad thing. There just aren't as many of the markers. So the colors are a little bit further apart. So you have to work a little bit. But once you learn it, it's no big deal. This is the BG 7.2. And that's a real pretty color. And you have to work the lines a little bit, but oh, so pretty. There we go. So there's the blue, and then we're going to put the green, and then all we need to do is the white gel pen and the multiliner, and we are ready to move on to our cards. So if you want to follow the card, you might want to get your pen and paper ready. I will give you the measurements. You can take a snapshot of it, but it doesn't have any of the actual instructions because I'll be talking you through it. It'll just have the measurements. So if you want to take any notes, you can do that while we're doing it. So I'm just giving you that heads up in case you want to. You don't have to. You can always watch the replay on YouTube. I'll be posting it there, and it'll be there forever or until something happens to my YouTube. let's hope that never happens. What do you think, Meg? Does that sound exciting? Oh, I'd love to have you there. You're another teacher. YG 8.5. So those of you who don't know Meg, she teaches over at LBN Handcrafted. She has some artwork as well. That you can get at not too shabby. You know, we all know each other. We all, you know, us artists, we hang together. All right, so we're almost done. We got to add that light green to his package. See, these look so cute. You know, I don't know that everybody or anybody or just me or why I even thought of it, but usually I try to keep all the colors cohesive, but I thought, you know, we're going to match the paper, so we're just going to add different colors for the presents and the stuff, and I'm really liking the way this came out. I wasn't expecting it to take quite as long, but when you're explaining all the steps, sometimes it just takes a little bit longer to teach it. But if you ever wanted to see the Olos in action, bam, there it was right there in all its beautiness for you. I have a spring retreat, so it depends on timing. Is your spring retreat in April? 3.5, and then I'm using the multiliner to just deepen her eyes a little bit. This is art that I drew for Christmas. It's a digital stamp in the shop if anybody's interested. Look at how cute those little eyes are. Oh my goodness. And then I also have the white gel pen, which is also Deco-Gel. I love these Deco-Gel pens, by the way. They make me really happy. And then I'm going to put that white gel pen wherever I think it needs it. So like I like to put it on the little present and like kind of on the bow. And then over here, I'm just going to put it like in the center of that bow so it kind of stands out. And then over here, I think I'm going to put like some dots because I want this to look kind of fuzzy. So I'm putting it over top of that gray. But for him, I don't want his to look like that. So I'm going to just give him like a line right here of white. Just, you can't really see it too well, but... Then I'm going to put the white gel pen in her eyes. And a second little reflection because she's so sparkly cute. I put the white in his eyes. And I'm going to put his little sparkly dots on the other side so he really stands out. And I think... other than the boots should have just a teeny bit on them, like right around that same area that I did the little bottom of the shoe, just so it has some white in there. And then if you wanted to know a secret, I accidentally touched the paper too far with that white gel pen. You can use your tweezers if you do it right after you did it, and you can just wipe it off of there. Also, the eraser that I erases the white gel pen too. So don't go over it with your marker. I'm interested. Those are cuties. Oh, I'm so glad you like them. You're getting Olos for Christmas? Ooh, that is exciting. You love them? I know, I love them too. They are some of my favorite ones. But anyway, so now let's showcase them. And an amazing new card design, not brand new to the crafting industry. I'm sure someone's thought of it, but new to me because I haven't done it before. Okay. So I decided on navy blue and yellow and these 3 pattern papers. And I'm going to take our little precious little elves and set them aside so their little white pieces and whatever else can dry. And then that way you can see the papers we're working at. I'm going to try to zoom out just a little bit more because seriously, I even cut out these stars because I was going to use them, but I might just spray them with like some sparkle spray and use them like that because I'm not going back to the colors. Okay, so I have these 2 colors, and then I also have like a base red that I want to use as an accent color. I'm so glad you like them, Cheryl. And you know, they're not even stamps, they're digitals. And we're going to use the new sentiment set that has all the occasions in it. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to cut our solid base card. So whichever one's going to be the base card, which for me is going to be the blue. Normally you would not have that line in there yet, but since I always do all my papers like that, you would just normally cut this piece of paper 5 1/4. Wait a minute. No, normal 8 1/2. It's a A2 size card. 4 1/4, 5 1/2, 11. It's 11 long, 4 1/4 wide. It's scored halfway. You fold it over, it makes a card. That, you know, you guys know the deal on that. That's not that hard. I forgot I didn't write that in any of the instructions, so I started to tell you. Then there's going to be, I'm going to show you what we're going to build, okay? Because I told you I made it once. One night when I was playing around, I decided to make this. So the outside's going to be somewhat plain, and we're going to open it up, and it's going to be like almost like a little book type thingy. So I'm going to tell you, while I'm speaking, I'm going to be saying the inside piece. That means this entire contraption that we're going to stick inside of this card. That's what we're going to work on. So I made this really cool template. If you want to take a snap of it, you can. It looks like this. And it has all the measurements on it, although you probably can't really see them. But this is what we're going to build. So basically what you're going to need to do is for the inside piece, the measurements for the inside piece are going to be 5 1/4. They're still going to be, they're not going to be 5 1/2. They're going to be 5 1/4. So we're going to have to cut off 1/4 of an inch at the top of this piece of paper. And then we want it to be 8 1/4. So we're going to take 1/4 of an inch off of the edge of this paper. Now pretend there's no score line on there because there's not supposed to be one on there yet. So we're going to pretend like we don't see one on there. So we're going to cut this to 5 1/4. So just 5 1/4 high. And then we're going to cut this piece to 8 1/4. So what I'm going to do is trim a little bit from each side because I already have my score line in here, which I shouldn't. But since I do, it is what it is. Let me see, where's my score line going to be? Maybe I should just, yeah, I'm just going to get a piece of paper without a score line. I don't want to confuse you guys. So I'm just going to grab another sheet of that yellow paper. I think that will make life a little bit easier. Hold on. I got like, I don't know, 100 different colors of paper back here. I'm looking for the yellow one. I think it's so sad. All right. I I don't even think I have that yellow color anymore. I think it's so saffron. I think it's sold out. They don't sell it anymore. But I really want to use it. So give me 1 second. I'll see if there's another one in here. Curry, yellow, daffodil. Lemon yellow, lolly yellow. All right, so this was my favorite yellow with Stampin' Up. It's so saffron, and they don't sell it anymore. So all I have is lemon lolly and daffodil delight, and I think daffodil delight's too dark. I think we need to use the lemon lolly. So that's the one I'm going to use. All right, so it says cut it at 5 1/4. This will just make it easier. 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. So I really just need to cut off 1/4 of an inch, even though this trimmer is not big enough. So I have to switch to this one to cut it to 8 1/4. And I think that's the last time I need the big trimmer. I mean, we're only cutting off 1/4 of an inch, so it should be pretty quick. But it's a lot better when you don't have to go around. Oh, look at that. I had the wrong cutter in there. Look, I had the wrong cutter in there. It's cute, but it won't work for this project, so that's okay. One more time, we still have a piece of paper here. 8 1/4. Thank goodness. And then by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4. By the way, I know everybody says this, but I really hate this bump right here that happens to be the measurements that you always need. Okay, so now that we have clarified that muddily, it is 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. And then we have to mark, like you have to take your ruler and you have to actually mark from each end, the top and the bottom, 7/8 of an inch in. So I just went here like this and I said, okay, that's 7/8. Here's my pencil. I'm just going to mark that. And then I flipped it over and I did the same thing on the other side. 7/8, and I marked it there. Okay. And then that's great. That tells me that that cut line I have to make is going to go right here. But the question is, how much do we have to have on each side? That happens to me with cutting. I have like 3 out at a time, and sometimes, oh no, wrong cutter. Yeah, exactly. I know, it's crazy. I try to keep up with these colors, but that So Saffron was my favorite, and I was so disappointed when they got rid of it. So from the edges, okay, so from top and bottom, it was 7/8 of an inch, and from right and left, it needs to be 1 3/8 inch. So 1, 2, 3/8. So we're going to go this far. And then on this side, it's going to be 1 3/8, same amount on both sides. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So really we're just marking, and we're using a pencil, so we're going to be able to take it off. Now, normally when I'm drawing a straight line, you can just use, like, I love this for that purpose. This is from Pear Blossom Press. I showed you the other day that if you want something that's 1/4 of an inch or whatever, you can stick the borders in here like this. Remember, we talked about that. But you can also use this ruler, if you flip it over, as your line. So you know you're going to get a straight line, right? So I want to draw in this extremely light line right here. Now I will have to probably erase that later, and that's fine, but I don't want my cut lines to go further than they're supposed to be. I mean, it's like the important part of the whole project. So now what I want is I want this line right here to go all the way across. So from this edge to this edge. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. From this edge to this edge. Now remember, this is top and bottom because it's only 7/8 of an inch. This one is 1 3/8 from both sides. So really what we want is a cut line from here to here and a cut line from here to here. Now you can do that on your trimmer if that works for you, but honestly, I'm way better with an X-Acto knife than I am with trying to get my trimmer to stop where I want it to stop. So I'm just gonna use that. So you guys ready for that? It's gonna be, if you're nervous about that, this is the easiest way to do it with your X-Acto knife. Put this ruler down, lay it in the line that you want. Make sure that your board, your ruler, is right up against that blade, and you can't get it wrong. It just goes exactly straight where you want it, okay? It's a lot easier to do with a ruler. So I just take my blade, put it right on that line where I want it to be. Then I make sure the ruler bumps up against it, and then just hold it there until I get to the point I want to stop. And that cuts it for me. That makes life so much easier for me. That's the way I like to do it. Do what works easiest for you, because then you won't hate doing it. Now, I don't want to have these lines on here, so I'm just going to erase them now. I don't need them anymore. That is what I needed it for. If it bothers you that you can kind of see this line, you can erase this one too. It's not really a big deal to me, but I'll show you how it looks if you erase it too. It's a nice clean, you have a nice clean cut. You know your lines are straight. You know everything's great. So now we're going to score. So that's it. That's the only cut that you have. Those are the only two cuts that you have to make. It's not hard. It always feels complicated when you have to cut in the middle of a piece of paper. That kind of drives some people crazy. So now what we're going to do is the scoring. And while the scoring is not complicated, you are only going to score on one side. That means you are going to score on the long side of this piece of paper. And what I mean by the long side is this is 8 1/4 and this is only 5 1/4. So this is your long side. You are only going to score with your paper right here. But you are going to have to pay attention to those cut lines, okay? So in my instructions, I'm going to tell you where to score outside the cut lines. That means around these edges, and where to score inside the cut lines. And that is what the measurements say. Outside the cut lines, inside the cut lines. So here we go. This is the way the instructions look. I'll set them right here. You can't really see them just yet, but I will hold them up close so you can take a picture. But cut solid 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. Mark 7/8 of an inch from the top and the bottom. That's marking those. Mark 1 3/8 from the left and right. That was where we marked here and here. And then it said draw the cut lines. The cut line should be 5 1/2 inches. If you don't have a 5 1/2 inch cut line, then something went wrong. Both of my cut lines are 5 1/2, so we're golden. And then it says score on the long side, that's the long side, outside the cut line, score at 2 5/8. So this is 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. So I have to cut it up to, I have to score it up to that score line, then skip all of this, and then below here. So if you can't line that up, you can turn it around. It's up to you, however you want to do that, but it's just easier for me that way. And then it says at 4 1/8, so 4 1/8 right here. And then I just make sure this is right. You can use your ruler. Did I get that right? I think I'm off by 1. Yep. It needs to be this one. I don't know. Anyway, I'm messing it up. Hold on. Let me flip it over. 4 and yep, I was wrong. Okay, there we go. Anyway, if you get it wrong and you go over it from the back side, you can fix it. See? Now I'll put the right one in there. There we go. All right. Now after that one, you want to do 6 5/8. No, wait a minute. That's inside cut lines. Outside, 5 5/8. 5 5/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here. And then I'll just take this paper and flip it over. It'll make life a lot easier. 1 5/8 is right here. So that marks it for me. I can turn it over and put it in the right spot. Now we don't have to worry about that. I like, if the paper's thick, I like to go over it a couple times because we really want this to bend easily. Now on the inside these lines, we're going to score at 1 3/8. 1, 2, 3. Right here. It's going to be right at this, where the edge of the cut is. And you're only going to go from cut to cut. Okay? And then 1 5/8. So you're going to go over 2 and then do that again. This is building your little fold for your book. And then 4 1/8. That's right along the center. So technically we could have just went all the way across for that one. Okay. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to do 6 5/8. So right here. Come on. Stay lined up there for me. Okay. 6 5/8, then 6 7/8. So we just want to go 1, 2 more, which is right at the edge of that cut line again. And now you can see, like, it's like a little book. Look. So you should have 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here, and the center line. And then you need 2 folds here and 2 folds here. And that is what you need for this top section. So there it is. I'll fold this because we haven't done that yet. Right there. So this is time. This is when you can take a snap. Let me move my shadow fingers going on here. There we go. So cut solid, mark from top to bottom, left to right, draw your cut lines, score on the long side at these measurements on the outside, these measurements on the inside, and then optional is cut 1 piece of matte paper for the front at 5 1/4 by 4, which is super easy. That's the one we're going to do with the red. So 4 by 5 1/4. Just so we have this before we get rolling on all our pattern papers. 5 1/4. I want this matte paper. It's optional. You don't have to do it. It's up to you. All right. all that is the hardest part. Now we're going to fold. This is what happens to me when cutting. I have to have 3 out at a time. I'm telling you, sometimes I'm a little mess. But I'm a hot mess, but I'm a fun hot mess. Okay. We need to cut our pattern papers, which is what I put down here at the bottom. And we may have to cut several additional pattern papers, but for now, what I want on the front of my card is this. I want this pretty scene right here. And so I need the front panel to be 3 3/4 by 5. So you know that the 5 is tall and the 3 3/4 is wide because the card has to go like this for this inside piece to work. So I'm going to cut it based on that. I don't want this dark line around the edge on either side because I think that'll make it look funny. So I'm literally going to cut like these houses off, and then I'll measure my 5 inches. Oh, well, I didn't have to because I made it exactly. Oh no, this is going to be the 3 3/4 because this is the tall piece. Oh good, it cuts off perfectly on the other side, so that's great. And these are the houses I want to see. And now I'm going to cut this at the 5-inch mark. Now, if you didn't want the black at the bottom, you could choose which way you wanted to cut this, but I'm pretty happy with that. I like that star, but we have stars that we can use. So we technically don't need to have that. Okay, so this is going to be my front panel piece. It's going to go on top of this red piece. See, we cut the red piece earlier. And then it's all going to go on top of the blue card. So it's going to look like this. And it's going to be sunshiny beautiful when you open it because you're going to have this yellow piece. Now, inside, you need to cut 2 pieces that are going to be 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I'm going to choose to do those with the presents because this is where the elves are going to be. But before I do that, I should make sure my elves don't look silly on top of a bunch of packages. But I think that they look really cute on top of a bunch of packages. I mean, they have packages, they're carrying packages. It kind of makes sense. Yeah. Yep, that's what I'm doing. So 2 1/4 is how tall it is. So I want my presents going the right way. No, 2 1/4 is how wide it is. 3 1/4 is how tall it is. So I should be able to cut this one at 3 1/4. I won't be able to get 2 pieces out of it though because it's only 6-inch paper. So I have to cut 1, and then I have to cut 2 1/4 again. And then I can get my 3 1/4 out of this one. And you really have options. You can mix your paper up if you want. It's entirely up to you. But we're going to need these 2 papers. And before I fold and put this whole contraption together, I want to have those papers on there because it'll just make my life easier. I also feel like in this whole design, like I love these window pieces and I'm going to want to put them along the edges, but we'll do that after we have the piece inside. But that's just decoration. That's your choice after the fact. But right now I want to, oh, these are cute too. Nope, it needs to be the presents. I'm going to attach these 2 right now. And this is my little dinosaur, my little Triceratops dinosaur and my glue. And we sell those in the shop now in case you missed that during the release. And you don't have to worry about any rust or issues like that because these are the Barely Art glue pins. I got them from Barely Art before we added the topper on them. So they should be good to go. Okay. So I'm just centering it inside this area right here. And I want them both to be lined up. Now somebody's going to win this. So if you're popping in and out, make sure that you have commented star and you will win this card. And this was not an easy task for me, was it? So I would be super happy to mail this to someone who really wants it. And then I'll make some more so I have some. And that's my soda press just to make sure my glue has got my pieces stuck. Okay, here's where we go. This is where we're going to start folding, and I'm going to hold it up so you can see. This center line right here, it's going to go up here, okay, and down here. And then this part is going to fold. We're like making a design here. Just folding them a little at first, and we'll get to the final fold in a minute. But then we're going to take this piece that's in the center. It will eventually go in, but we need it to come up in order to fold this up. So this piece right here is going to fold up like this, and then back where the tiny fold is. So you should have like a step. You see that step? And you need 2 of those. So you got to do the same thing on this side. You need to fold this up. It's a slippery little sucker. And then you want to fold this one down. So you could just, you know, do it like that. Now, the way I get the folds creased really, really well is I go ahead and I start folding this like a sandwich. And then I take these 2 ends and I push them up like that, okay? And then you're going to shove this sandwich all the way in so that it folds flat like this. The other side should be doing the same thing. It should line up. It should be perfectly even, just like this, okay? Once I get it in that fold where I want it to be, you don't want to see that mini fold. See how it's down like that? It's down like that. And then when I get it where I want it to be, then I'm going to use this burnisher and I'm going to burnish these folds really, really good. And do it on both sides. Now when I open it up, it'll do what it's supposed to do. See that? You want these to be like a book on the side. There should be a step here and a step here. Then the book it should fold like a book. Okay? And then these will come up, and this goes back. You see that, how that looks? It's pretty cool, huh? Now we got to turn it the right way so we don't put the presents upside down inside the card. Okay, so the reason that I folded it flat like that is because that's how we're going to attach it inside this card. We're going to attach it while it's all folded up. But before we do that, we have to put the front on. Otherwise, it's all bumpy and hard to place on there. So we're going to do the front first. So I'm going to put this paper, because you know I wanted those houses on the front. This is going to be like a surprise card. You don't even get to see the coloring until you open it up. And then you get to see those little elves hard at work. As soon as the live is over, I will write down everybody who wrote the word star in a comment, and then I will run the drawing to see who wins this card. And you will get this card in the mail. I will mail it to you tomorrow. If I don't have your address, I'll ask for it. Otherwise, You can just expect to get it in the mail. I'm going to spray this. I really want to put this star on there, but I want it to be all sparkly and such, and it'll only take a second to do it. So I'm just going to grab my little box here. I'll grab my little star. I'm going to use this Art Anthology Ice Spray. It'll only take a second. I'm going to spray it with sparkle. And that is going to sparkle when it's done. It doesn't look like it right now, but it will. I promise. It's a little bit wrinkly. Starting to get all sparkly. Hopefully I can get a good look at that. Can you see the sparkle on there? There's a lot of sparkle on there. A little bit hard to see, but there's a lot of sparkle on there. And I just want that sparkle to be on the front of my card. All right, I need my sentiment, so we'll let that dry for a second. And it's funny, but I want to put Merry on the outside, and then when you open it up, I want it to say Christmas. So I'm happy that this new sentiment set has the words separately. So you can match them up however you want. The word day is in there, the word happy is in there, the word merry is in there, and you can do them however you want. There's also belated. So you got happy Halloween, happy Thanksgiving, happy Easter. You got Merry Christmas. You got Mother's Day, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, you know, Valentine's Day, whatever you want to use it for. Congratulations. It's just really cool. And they're separate pieces, so you can stamp them however you want. I love these blocks from Sassy Club. I love them so much, I have two. So when I do two different things, I have different ones to use. I have a red VersaFine Claire, which I'm going to use for my sentiment. I'm going to use part of this scratch paper where we tested our words. I mean our marker colors. And I'm just going to take the Merry and I'm just going to stamp it on here. And I just want it to be on a square strip, you know, so I'm just putting it close to the bottom so it looks nice. And then I'm going to grab my Christmas and I'm going to put it on the other side so I can use it as a strip on the inside of the card. So I'm not going to stamp them together. And just in case I want to say Merry, Merry Christmas, I'm going to stamp a second one. Because maybe I want to put Merry Christmas on the inside. I'm going to put it towards the edge because I like to be able to cut my pieces out pretty easily. And the closer it is to the edge, the easier it is to do. So to do in a rectangle or a square, it's just easier that way. And I'm an eyeballer, so I don't really need a whole lot of practice with that. I can just cut it the way that I cut it in a straight line, and then I'll cut this one too. I am okay with eyeballing this stuff. I always cut it a little wider than I want, so in case I have to trim down some edge or something that I didn't get quite right, I can do that once it's smaller. I want the Merry, and then I have this cool star. I mean, you could say Merry and Bright. You know, I may have to cut this because I had ink on my fingers and I now have ink around the outside of my star. So I'm just going to cut this white off so it's just a black around the edges, because I had ink on my fingers, which is such a bummer. And I think I'm going to pop up the Mary, because I think that'll make it more fun. And I'm okay with that. And then we're going to put the guts inside, and then we're almost done. This is really not that bad. I think if you cut all the pieces and had them ready, you could just whip together these cards in no time. I'm going to put glue on the back of my little star. I'll probably add more bling to the outside of this card when we get done, but for now, I want that. So if you don't want to press on your star, just flip it over on your desk and rub it with your soda press, and that'll flatten it out and get it exactly how you want without like actually touching it. I think I kind of like it with a wide range around it, but I think what I'm going to do is take that Olo marker that we used with the red, and I'm just going to go around the edge just to kind of give it a little bit more fancy. And I don't even care if it's straight or crooked, or if there's more in one area than there is in the other. I don't care. I just like having a little bit of decoration on outside. So I'm going to stick that right there. But I'm going to pop it up. So I have some pop-up stuff right here. I'm just going to cut that the size, or close to the size that I need. Put that on the back of this. All right, here we go. Mary is going to go right here. All right. Now this is going to go on top of here. Isn't this pretty? It's so pretty, just like that. And then we're going to put our guts inside. But we got to put our, I would recommend putting our elves on before we put our guts on the inside, because the more you can do before you assemble, the easier it's going to be. It's up to you, but that I like to do it like that. So I just flip this over. I'm going to rub the back. I find that's easier. It doesn't mess up any edges or any whatever to rub it from the back. Okay, time to put our little elves on here. So I want her to be on this side and him to be on this side. So we're going to put them in there. These were digital files, so what I did when I got ready to print them was I pulled them up and I just sized them smaller than 2.5 by 3.5, so I knew they would fit in this little rectangle on here. But I kind of think I'm going to put his little hat off the edge, just because I think it's cute that way. And then I'm going to put her, but her hat's not going to hang off the edge. She's just going to be on this side. Super cool. You like it? This is not a hard design, but I think the more I make it, the more shortcuts I might be able to give you guys. But since I'm trying to do this giveaway cards with new designs you guys haven't seen me do before. I don't have them mastered yet, so I might need to do them a few times to learn some tips and tricks. But for now, look how cute they are. They're so cute. All right. So the other decoration that I want to put on this, I want to put on after I have it assembled. So I'm going to go ahead and fold these over. I don't want to set this all the way up against here, because then when you open it, it doesn't have anywhere to go. So you do want it to be out just a little bit. So what I do is I usually like center it in there like this where you want it, and then fold over one side. Put the glue just on this outside, okay? Right here. Don't put anything on the inside piece, just the outside piece. And then what I do is I just close the book like that. Super quick like that, just like that. And then I'm going to rub that to make sure that I get like a good hold. So there it is. Just going to rub the edge from the inside once I have it on there. And then we're just going to fold this side down like that. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to put this glue on here. Only on this outside piece. And then all we have to do is close it. Again, close this side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip it over and just kind of rub it real quick. And then we'll open it up. This time we're doing the girls' side. So we'll just rub that. Get that on there, and then you can open up the whole book. And what I said earlier was I wanted to use these because they're in strips. I thought they would look really cute right along the edge of this. So what I'm going to do is trim these in 2 strips. I'm not going to use, I want that one. And I want that one. So I'm just going to trim off the ones that I want. So I want this one. And I want to use that one right there. And then I guess I want that one. And then I want this one. And I want to put that one on that side. Now, we're going to have to trim it down. So, for me, I want the bottom one to be a full picture and then kind of go off the page. So, I'm going to trim the bottom of this one. And then it's going to have to be, remember, we cut that paper to 5 1/4, I think. Yep, 5 1/4. So that's what it needs to be, 5 1/4. And then this will fit evenly in there like that. I really like that. And now we're going to do the same thing.
Remind everybody what that word is.
Yes, the word is star. If they want to win the prize, the word is star. And then this one, we want the bottom picture, right? Or do we want the top one? We want the bottom one. I don't want to cut that girl's head off. We're going to have to use this one. I don't want to cut that little girl's head off. So this one, yep, that's going to work. So we're going to cut this one to 5 1/4. You can still see the cute little house at the top. That makes me happy. I'm going to put glue on this, attach it. You don't have to put these decorative pieces. The first time I built this, when I was trying to come up with the design for you guys for tonight, I did not add anything here. It's just this shape of this paper made me think how cute it would be. And if you didn't get it lined up perfectly, this would be able to cover that. I didn't get that lined up. But this will be able to cover that. And so I wanted to add the paper for that purpose, just in case I wasn't real good at lining it up, which I'm clearly not doing very well at lining it up right now. I want a certain, I just want a little bit of an edge right there, and I don't want any yellow showing at the top or the bottom. So there we go. I don't know why that felt like a struggle. And then this side, we're going to do the same thing. Oh, I'm about to lose the video. So make sure that you commented star if you want to win this, because it looks like the video's shaking a little. But we're almost done. Make sure you commented star, because only people who comment star can be in the drawing. That is what we said at the beginning. There we go. Well, that one didn't give me quite as hard a time as the other side did. I mean, look at this card. This is so cool. And then I think I want, see, I think I want to put, it said Merry, I think I want to put Merry, Merry Christmas. 2 Marys, 1 Christmas. That's what I want to do. I just want to trim these little folded pieces on the edge. And then I'm going to put this Christmas at the bottom. Right down here. Just like that. And it's okay to have 2 Merry Christmas. Have a Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. They definitely say Merry, Merry in some of the music. So I think I'm good on that. Just going to lay that down. I want it to go a little bit over the pattern paper because it's over the pattern paper down here. And now you have an inside surprise. So it starts out with, here is the outside of your card, like this. And then when you open it up, you have this beautiful demonstration on the inside. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love it. It's such a cute card. What I usually do is like lay a book on it at night so it stays flat so it doesn't pop up as much. It probably is going to need 2 stamps to mail because it has a little bit of a thick inside, but I'm okay with that because it's so cute. And I should have stamped the back before I started out, because see, now you can't like lay it flat, but and if I stamp it like this, it's probably not going to come out right. I'll try it. I'll have to write in whatever doesn't work. Oh, it worked. Yay. And then, yeah, so I hope that you guys like that. My screen froze, so I'm not sure if you can actually still see me or not. Dale's checking on that right now. But we did Copics and Olos, and this is from Paper Rose. Paper Rose is where the papers came from. The stamps are from ledouxdesigns. And one more time, I will give you the measurements real quick. And I'm going to hold them up. I have to stand up so I can see. These are the measurements. Really pretty card. You can still see me. Okay, good. So here's the top part. And then I'm going to go up. And these are the pattern papers and such. So if you want to take a snap of that, you can. Or you can always watch it on YouTube. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. Here's the full picture if you want to snap it and try to zoom in. But that is such a pretty scene in there. And you think it's just a regular card until you open it up and there's just so much beauty in there. So I hope you guys like that. Make sure that you have commented with the word star. If you want to win this card, I will be mailing it in the morning to the winner. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope you'll try it yourself. And I really appreciate you guys joining me. Remember, I will be live again on Thursday at 8 Central, and I will have another card drawing with a different code word for you to type in. And then Friday, I will be on Craft Roulette. So I hope you guys will join me there. It's at 6. The show starts at 6:30, but it's just a demonstration of the gallery of cards that were made last week. The show actually starts at 7. So if you can join me, I'd love to have you there. All the support that I can get will be helpful, and we'll craft together. Thank you so much for joining me. Love you guys. Make sure that you commented the code word so you can be in the drawing. The drawing ends when the video ends. So it's time for me to say goodbye. Watch the replay on YouTube. And if you are watching YouTube, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Good night, you guys. Love you. See you on Thursday.